Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Hi there.
So, today we're plunging headfirst into something pretty specific, but honestly incredibly powerful.
Hmm.
Using artificial intelligence,
Right.
particularly OCR, optical character recognition, to, well, finally unlock the information sort of trapped inside historical documents.
A huge task and so important.
Absolutely. And our source material for this is a consultation record.
Basically a roadmap, yeah.
Exactly. A plan laid out for a research project focusing on, well, accelerating and accurately getting historical text using these AI tools.
Making all that old stuff searchable.
That's the goal. So our mission here really is to take that roadmap,
Unpack it.
unpack its components, understand the unique challenges involved, and figure out the practical strategies they're proposing.
Yeah, what are they actually planning to do?
We want to help you understand the real-world steps, the considerations needed to bring these old texts into the digital age.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this consultation record. It lays out this plan for tackling historical text analysis with AI.
And it's not just, press a button.
No, definitely not. It's a whole multi-stage process.
What's fascinating, I think, is how they approach it as a structured pipeline.
A pipeline, right?
Because you're dealing with documents that might be centuries old, fragile.
Inconsistent formats, different handwriting.
Exactly. You can't just throw standard OCR at that and, hope for the best.
No way.
You need a really deliberate approach.
And the core problem they're trying to solve, the central research theme in the record, it's all about using AI tools to get that historical text out.
Accurately and fast.
Accurately and fast. Think about it, millions of pages of old newspapers, manuscripts, ledgers, making them searchable.
And why is that so important? I mean, it seems obvious, but
Well, right now, so much incredible historical information is just, well, invisible to digital search, isn't it?
completely locked away.
Yeah.
Making it accessible doesn't just speed up research.
Yeah.
It enables entirely new kinds of research. Historians could analyze huge data sets they just couldn't possibly read manually before.
Okay, so the record breaks this whole thing down into several key work areas. The first big one is image processing and text extraction.
Right. Feels like the foundation.
Yeah, getting the image ready, doing that initial read.
And this is just so critical before you even get to the OCR model itself.
Right.
Historical documents, they're often damaged, faded, stained. You name it.
Yeah.
The record talks about optimizing the OCR model, sure, but critically, it emphasizes handling different qualities of images.
Like blurriness or contrast issues.
Exactly. Things standard scanners might not fix perfectly. Imagine trying to read text where the ink has bled through from the back.
Oh, yeah. A nightmare. And these old documents, they aren't standardized like modern books, are they?
Not at all.
So the record mentions developing layout segmentation algorithms.
Which is basically figuring out where everything is on the page.
Where the paragraphs, the columns, pictures, captions.
Right. Which, as you said, must be a nightmare in old newspapers or handwritten letters with text just crammed in everywhere.
Totally. Getting that layout wrong means the OCR reads what? Across columns? Mixes things up?
Precisely. Reads garbage.
Yeah.
Essentially. So after you've processed the image, understood its structure, then you get to the next phase.
Which is?
Text technology development. This is where you build the actual reading engines, the OCR models themselves.
But tailored, right, for these specific challenges.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Because they're not just building one model fits all.
No. The source talks about creating specific OCR models for different types of text.
Okay, like what?
Printed type, which can vary wildly depending on the printing press, the era.
Right.
Handwritten script, which is notoriously difficult.
Uh-huh.
And even Japanese text, which has its own unique structural challenges.
Wow. Okay, that's ambitious.
And they're going even further. They're training models for text category recognition, teaching the AI to identify what kind of text block it's looking at. Is this a heading, a main paragraph, a list, maybe a signature?
Ah, okay. So structural understanding within the text itself. How?
They plan to use large data sets of pre-classified texts to teach the model these differences.
Got it. And there's a specific detail in the record. Something about combining this training data with social survey texts. That seemed a bit out of left field.
It does seem a bit unexpected, yeah. But the thinking is likely to improve the model's ability to compare and predict.
How so?
Well, maybe using the consistent format and questions in social surveys as like a baseline or a comparison point when dealing with the messy historical data.
Okay, so enriching the training with diverse, maybe more structured examples.
Something like that. It helps the model learn patterns.
So image processing, building tailored OCR models. What's the third big work area?
That's data tagging and processing.
Right, because the AI isn't perfect.
Far from it, especially with this stuff. So once the AI has churned out its best guess at the text, you still need to clean it up.
Okay.
The record specifically mentions supporting human text proofreaders.
Ah, the essential human in the loop. Makes sense.
Absolutely, because even the best AI will make mistakes with tricky source material.
And to make that process more efficient.
They're also developing automated text tagging tools.
Okay, so the AI helps the humans.
Yeah. While humans are correcting errors, the AI can maybe help automate classifying sections or identifying key entities like names or places.
Trying to get the best of both worlds, quality and scale.
Exactly. It's a mix of automation and human oversight.
Okay, so that's the plan, the work content. Building on that, what specific suggestions does the consultation record offer to make this actually happen effectively?
The suggestions really just reinforce that pipeline idea we've been discussing.
Right.
It starts, unsurprisingly, with emphasizing image pre-processing.
Making the image cleaner first.
Yeah, tasks like denoising, adjusting contrast,
Okay.
making the image as clear as possible before you even run the OCR.
Like cleaning your glasses before reading small print. Good analogy.
Exactly. Then they suggest using an internal platform for model training and tuning.
Keeping it in-house.
Yeah, presumably for control.
Yeah.
It lets them manage the process, allows for continuous optimization of their custom models, really dialing them in for their specific historical documents.
Okay.
But what's fascinating here is the suggestion to also evaluate commercial software.
Oh, like off-the-shelf stuff.
They specifically mention assessing tools like ChatGPT.
Really? So they're not ruling out using existing powerful AI models?
Seems not. They want to understand how these big general-purpose models perform on their specific historical texts.
See if they can be applied or integrated somehow.
Right. Maybe for certain tasks or certain types of documents where their own custom models might be weaker or maybe just too expensive to build.
Interesting. And if a model, whether it's custom or commercial, isn't doing well on a particular style of text or, a specific domain?
The suggestion is fine-tuning.
Ah, so taking a base model.
Exactly. Taking that base model and training it just a bit more, but on a smaller, very specific data set of the difficult stuff.
To boost its accuracy just for that niche.
Precisely.
Okay. And finally, after the text is extracted, maybe fine-tuned, the suggestions cover post-processing.
Which is absolutely crucial. You can't skip this.
The cleanup step.
Yeah. Proofreading the AI's output, classifying different parts of the text, identifying names, dates, places, maybe, organizing the data, converting it into a usable format.
Like searchable text files or databases?
Right. It's basically acknowledging that the raw OCR output is often messy and needs significant refinement to be actually useful.
It really sounds like this requires a very specific, kind of broad mix of talents. What skills does the source say are essential?
Oh, it's definitely multidisciplinary. They list several key areas.
Okay.
Strong skills in image processing techniques, first off. Using tools like OpenCV or PIL, these are standard libraries for working with images.
Makes sense.
Machine learning fundamentals. You need to understand how to build and train these models, particularly deep learning approaches.
Which are behind the best OCR today.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And obviously, you need to know how to code.
Right.
Strong programming ability, and they specifically mentioned Python.
Which is kind of the go-to for AI and data work.
It really is. And then there's natural language processing basics.
NLP, like what?
Things like segmentation, breaking text into words or sentences, part of speech, tagging, identifying nouns, verbs, adjectives.
So the computer doesn't just read the letters, but starts to understand the structure a bit.
Exactly. Helps make sense of the text.
And tying it all together. There's one more crucial piece, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely critical. Domain knowledge.
Meaning?
Knowledge relevant to the text being processed. If you're working with, say, 17th century legal documents.
You need someone who understands 17th century legal jargon.
Exactly. Understands the language, the structure, the abbreviations they used back then.
Yeah.
Without that domain knowledge, you'd struggle.
Struggle to train the models accurately? Or even proofread the output?
Both. You wouldn't know what good looks like. It's really about combining the tech skills with the historical understanding.
Given all that complexity, all those skills needed, the consultation also touched on manpower. Even with AI, this isn't a small job, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's not set it and forget it. The record clearly notes that model training, especially for these complex historical texts, needs significant human effort.
Just to build the models.
Yeah. You need people to prepare large data sets for training, manage the computational resources, which can be substantial, and constantly monitor and optimize how the models are performing.
Okay.
Like we said, data processing after the OCR. That needs substantial human time, too, for proofreading, organizing, ensuring the final output is actually high quality, usable, accurate.
And finally, there's a really important consideration, especially with historical documents that might contain sensitive information, privacy and security. The record addresses this.
Yes, and it's a crucial point. How do you handle potentially sensitive historical information while you're processing it?
Good question. What does it suggest?
The source highlights that using an internal in-house platform for model training offers better control.
Keeps the data safer.
Right. It can effectively help prevent data leaks during the training process, keeping sensitive stuff within your own secure environment.
Makes sense. What about using those commercial models they mentioned, like ChatGPT?
Well, if you do consider using commercial models, they strongly emphasize needing to understand how that model handles data.
Where does the data go? Who sees it?
Exactly. And ensuring any data you use, maybe for fine-tuning or just processing, is completely safe and secure.
So you're not accidentally exposing private historical details to external systems in an unsafe way.
Precisely. It's about being really deliberate and careful about where your data goes and how it's protected.
So pulling this all together, what does this deep dive tell us? This look into the consultation record, it really paints a picture of a systematic approach.
Definitely. A systematic way to apply AI and OCR to unlock these historical texts.
It's a pipeline, like you said, tackling challenges from the initial image quality, the diverse writing styles.
Right, moving through developing tailored AI models.
And including those essential steps for data processing, cleanup, and even thinking about critical things like privacy.
It really highlights the necessary blend, doesn't it? Different AI techniques, computer vision for the images, machine learning for the reading, NLP for understanding.
Yeah, alongside the crucial role of specific technical skills.
And, maybe most importantly, that human expertise, the domain knowledge to ensure accuracy and quality.
It's definitely far from a simple automated task. But this kind of structured approach, the one detailed in this record, it's what's needed.
It is. It's how you transform these static images of old documents into truly searchable, analyzable digital data.
Making the past accessible in entirely new ways.
Which, raises a really exciting question for you, the listener, to maybe ponder. If we can really scale up these techniques, make vast historical archives fully searchable, what previously hidden connections might suddenly emerge? What forgotten voices might we finally hear? What news stories locked away right now in faded ink on fragile paper might finally be told or maybe even reinterpreted?